Into the Spider-Verse wasn't a movie on my radar, but turned into a hit for me in 2018. It was well written, emotionally captivating, and I wondered where the story would go next. But with 5 years and a pandemic later, I'd largely forgotten about the sequel. So has too much time passed, and is it a worthy successor? We're talking about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Thankfully, any worries I had were unfounded, although the movie does have its flaws, which I will touch on later. Across the Spider-Verse is proof that audiences are not tired of superhero movies, we're just tired of poorly written ones. The film is beautifully animated with a vibrant array of colours, the characters experience real growth, and there are even some laugh-out-loud moments to boot. The animation quality is top-notch and the exploration of the multiverse surpasses Marvel's feeble attempts. However, the movie falls into the trap of being self-indulgent, clocking in at over 2 hours. There are too many characters detracting from the main protagonist, and certain plot points become overly repetitive without benefiting the story. This doesn't mean it's not a good film, it certainly is, but it doesn't quite reach the same level as the first outing. So buckle up, attach your web shooters, let's dive into the plot. Before we delve deeper, I would just like to ask, if you are enjoying this content, please consider giving it a like and a subscribe. As a new content creator, the start of growing a channel is the hardest, and it will ensure you catch my upcoming reviews too. The story takes place sometime after the events of the first film, with Gwen Stacy struggling to balance her personal and heroic obligations. When battling a villain from another dimension, her alter egos from different realities appear who join the fray and aid her. They recruit her into an organisation responsible for maintaining the multiverse, known as the Spider-Verse in this film. Meanwhile, Miles has grown older and is facing similar challenges to Gwen. While patrolling the neighbourhood, he encounters a villain named Spot, who can create multiversal portals after an accident caused by Miles in the first movie. He looks kind of like a Dalmatian. The encounter leaves Spot escaping between dimensions, vowing to become stronger and seek revenge on Miles, which poses a threat to the Spider-Verse as a whole. After reuniting with Gwen Stacy, Brooklyn's friendly neighbourhood Spider-Man is catapulted across the multiverse, encountering a team of spider people charged with protecting its existence. However, the heroes clash on how to handle the new threat, and Miles finds himself pitted against the other spiders. Can Miles alter his destiny, or is he destined to be like all the other spider people and the fate that binds them? Now, I've got to give this movie props for its character development. It's a breath of fresh air after some movies nowadays. The main gripe I could find with Miles in the comic book scene is that he's essentially just a tokenized version of Peter, but in the movie he stands on his own 2 feet as a distinct character. The film expands on his differences and adds even more backstory, building upon the excellent character development in the first film. I suspect these differences will likely play an important role in the upcoming third instalment. Gwen's character also receives more screen time, which is a positive in my opinion. She comes across as likeable and not simply an overpowered, strong female character, unlike in other movies. The filmmakers are clearly aware of how Gwen's story parallels Miles's, serving as a mirror at times, allowing the audience to empathise with both characters. Its portrayal of the multiverse is well done too. Unlike recent renditions in the Loki and Doctor Strange series, which I felt got lost in the grandiose concept of the multiverse, this film maintains a straightforward approach. It intertwines the multiverse with relatable human drama, creating a strong connection between the audience and the characters they genuinely care about. They also use the multiverse to really go crazy with the animation and art style, which is excellent by the way. Each Spider-Man and universe they inhabit has a different look, and some are truly wacky. The animators have captured the emotions of the characters effectively, and the chosen colour palette is a true smorgasbord, making it a feast for the eyes. It really connects the film to its multiple comic book origins, which is only reinforced by the stop motion style. However, not everything is perfect. The movie could have benefited from trimming down the cast, not because of any bad performances, everyone was great, but because there are too many characters, leading to a convoluted plot. I'm not referring to the literal thousands of spider people or even the animals featured, as they were great additions. I'm talking more about the side characters. For instance, Jessica Drew doesn't contribute much to the plot and consumes screen time in an already overstuffed film. Plus, I really don't get the reason to have her heavily pregnant. It doesn't land for me. It just seems a weird inclusion and irresponsible on the character's part, putting the unborn child in danger. They make such a focus about the pregnancy issue at the beginning, it comes across almost as preachy. There are 1 or 2 other moments like this in the film, but thankfully these are relatively minor throughout and do not spoil it overall. The film's pacing is a paradoxical weak point for me. It's a mix of frantic busyness and sluggishness. Gwen's character arc is notably more efficient, delivering precisely what is needed without unnecessary elaboration. In contrast, Miles' scenes come across as drawn out and sometimes redundant, revisiting the same basic points repeatedly. It takes 50 minutes for Gwen and Miles to reunite, and another half hour elapses before they reach the Spider headquarters. I just feel some of this could have been trimmed down a tad. The The principal villain, the Spot, remains conspicuously absent for a significant portion of the movie, and despite its nearly 2.5-hour runtime, it only manages to reach the halfway point of its story, concluding on a cliffhanger which I think some viewers may find unsatisfying. It feels like they've taken what should have been one movie and stretched it into two. Overall though, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is a solid sequel that manages to capture the magic of its predecessor and is streets ahead of any of the current superhero offerings from the MCU or DC equivalent. It remains an enjoyable and visually stunning superhero film that demonstrates the potential for creative storytelling within the Spider-Man universe. The twist, although predictable, provides a satisfying payoff. While it may not reach the same level of excellence as its predecessor, it leaves audiences eagerly anticipating the next installment and the continued adventures of Miles Morales in the Spider-Verse. If you're a true Spider-Man fan, there are plenty of in-jokes and Easter eggs that I spotted, and I'm sure many more flew over my head. I highly recommend going to see this at the cinema, and it has my seal of approval. And that's a wrap, folks. Time for you to go on your merry way and for me to see what Easter eggs I missed in the Spider-Verse.